Heyo everybody, Haku here with my One Piece anime episode, what was it, 743 this week? And this one, like, going into it, I had super low expectations. But, honestly, I could have recorded a live reaction to it, because I was so into this, I was so hyped. This is one of the best episodes we've had in a really long time, probably since the Gear 4 stuff, or the Sai and Lao G stuff, like, this was really great. Or the Frankie and Senor Pink stuff. All of those were good, but this was amazing. I was expecting this to be bad, and it turned out to be amazing in my opinion. Like, I don't know, I was pretty blown away by this. We've been going at like a horrible pace that I can't even like defend it. The pace we've been going at is like 2 episodes, 2 full, like, 24-minute episodes for every 1 chapter. Now that's ridiculous. A chapter comes out every week and we have 2 24-minute episodes on that. We are stretching things like a motherfucker. But like, it turned out really well. I just don't know what to say. They turned half a chapter into something really great. Honestly, starting off, I thought the recap was good. And that's not something I think you can say often, but I thought the recap was good. They showed the best parts of last episode, so I did like that. And also, I felt like it was short. They didn't like overstay their welcome this week with the recap, which was nice. Of course, I'm still waiting for a new intro, but we should be getting that soon, I feel. Maybe either next episode or episode after that, I may want to record a live reaction. I don't know. I don't know if it's really my thing, you know? But I might try it and just throw it in somewhere. But because we're gonna have some cool stuff happening, and even like I said like everything after that last episode should be great every episode, and this was a good episode to kick that off. I think this was, even if you weren't that into it, you could at least say this was on the pretty good side of things. But I don't know, I just really loved this one. I am a big Fujitora fan, though. I think he's a complete boss. But we start out with Law and Sengoku where we left off, and I thought this whole conversation was amazing. I'm a huge fan of Law's voice actor from other things he's done, and also being Trafalgar Law, of course. But Sengoku's voice was so good. Sengoku was in that. The gorilla stuff was funny. I absolutely loved when Law gave the reveal. He has the D in his name, Trafalgar D. Water Law. And I like how he's trying to get information out of Sengoku, but Sengoku kind of brushes it off, and he's like, that's not why Corazon saved you. He saved you, like, don't mistake his love for something else. Don't try to give reason to it. So I thought that was really good. And just the way that it ended off, talking about Corazon and how they're the only 2 people that can carry on his memory, like, I got the feels. I wasn't expecting to get the feels from this episode, but I seriously did. That was pretty impactful. Now, moving on, all the stuff with Luffy's friends and allies and Fujitora, all of that looked really nice, and it was just really good. And we get to the part where Bartolomeo puts up the barrier. Fujitora's like, ah man, a barrier. That's going to be hard to bust through. And then he lifts all the rubble in Dressrosa, pretty much an entire country, up into the air. Which shows that he is one of the most powerful people in One Piece. He lifts an entire country into the air, essentially. So, oh man, I wasn't expecting that scene to be that great or important either, but the way it was done and going to all these different characters and stuff throughout the island, like, I got chills. It was so hype, and the music for it too. That is a very good scene that I wasn't expecting to be a very good scene, honestly. And going on, we get Luffy finally makes it to Fujitora and punches him. And, of course, that's when everyone freaks out. Luffy's fighting an admiral, and we actually got, like, a full, legit fight. And it looks like it's even going to carry on into next week, which I'm super happy about. For those of you that don't know, in the manga, the Luffy and Fujitora stuff was sort of a quick back and forth for a couple pages. It was only a couple pages, and now the show turned it into this whole huge full fight, which honestly I completely love. I didn't think I would love it, especially being drawn out, but like I probably wouldn't have liked it if they just sort of made it drawn out, but it wasn't drawn out. It was like fully fleshed into its own thing. I love how Luffy used all of his like Hawk Stamp, Hawk Gatling, all of those awesome Gear Second and Hockey moves. And we had Fujitora going in, making the little gravity craters around the place. And just the way it was choreographed back and forth was really nice. There were some few, during the fighting, there were a few reused animations, especially when, like, they were going back and forth, like, close combat. But it wasn't, like, where it didn't make sense or anything. It all made sense for it to be reused. Like, it was just Fujitora slashing a couple times, Luffy punching a couple times. So they reused that maybe 2 or 3 times, but it didn't seem too out of the ordinary. It wasn't very distracting. And the problem with reused animation in anything like this is that it becomes distracting or it's lazy. But in this case, since it wasn't distracting, and it wasn't really lazy because it fit into the narrative of what was going on, I think it's completely forgivable in that kind of scenario because it doesn't take away from the episode, which is normally why it would be a bad thing, because it normally takes away from something when you have that kind of laziness going on. So the fight for its entirety, in my opinion, was amazing, and they did more than right, a scene that I completely loved in the manga, where Fujitora is like, I may be a blind man, but don't feel sorry for me. I'm a monster. Everybody around the world knows me as a monster. I am an admiral. And then Luffy says, I can't just attack a blind man without, letting him know where I'm attacking from. And also in the anime, they threw in Luffy saying, I kind of like you. And I think that's good too, because it shows, what Luffy meant by not attacking him without telling him where he was attacking from. It's because, he's like, you're an admiral, you're my enemy, but I have respect for what you do. And I like Fujitora as well, because throughout the entire arc, he was that way with Luffy and Law, where he's like, you guys are pirates, you're my enemies, but I do respect what you're doing here. So I love that they're enemies, but with respect for each other. They're enemies that don't really want to be enemies, they just happen to be on 2 different sides of things. So I think that was a really cool way of showing it off. And the part that they did right was when Luffy says that and Fujitora just laughs straight in his face. They did that so perfectly. They got the goofy face and even followed that up with a really cool laugh. That just turned out really well, I thought, as an animated scene. So I'm super happy with that. And then a little bit more fighting, again, all of which was great. I really loved this fight. I thought it was well choreographed. And I liked the way it looked. I liked the way it was set. Where they were having the fight at. And of course, next episode, I really think everybody's going to really like where it leads. Depending on how far we get next episode, which I'm really hoping is pretty far. I'm hoping we at least finish the chapter that this episode started, because if we don't, then I'm gonna say, okay, maybe it is dragging things out a little bit too long if we don't wrap this up next episode. But we end off with Fujitora using his ferocious tiger attack, and man, it was hype. It was hype again. I don't think quite as hype for me as the rubble lifting scene, but it looked great. There were a few parts that, it just sort of showed Luffy flying backwards, so I didn't really like that part of things that much, but I do I don't know, I think the attack looked really cool, just like the fight, so, not much I can do other than continually praise the fight for this one. Hype camera shaking. Not terribly much I can do except for praise the fight, because that was pretty much all there was here. But I think that this looked great, it sounded great, and what was important is that it was entertaining. I was completely just glued to the screen, excited to watch this one, and I think that's what means the most for anything. I think it's supposed to entertain the fan, and that's definitely what it did in my opinion. Sure, we didn't get as far in the story as we could have, but I'm completely okay with that given how good this episode was in itself. So that said, I'm not going to give it a perfect score because, like I said, the animation wasn't the best thing ever. It was really good in a lot of parts, especially for One Piece, but there were some reused animation, and it wasn't the best thing ever. And we didn't get as far as we could have got, but I'm going to give it like an almost perfect score because it was so entertaining. To me, it was the most entertaining thing we've had since the Senor Pink and Frankie stuff or the Sai and Lao G stuff. Because I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I've said it in my previous reviews. I think that the anime did the Doflamingo and Luffy stuff really badly. It drew it out too long. The animation for it, except for the one Gear 4th episode, the animation was really bad. So I didn't like the Doflamingo and Luffy fight in the anime, because I think the anime just sort of took it way, way down from what it could have been. But this was good. This was better than what I was expecting by a long, long shot. So I'm going to give this one 9 ferocious tigers out of 10, I guess. So anyway, if you guys like the review, comment down there and tell me what you thought of the episode and what you thought of my thoughts on the episode. Subscribe for more One Piece, both the anime and manga, Tower of God, Kisniver, The Walking Dead, Pokemon, a bunch more. And follow on Twitter as well if you want, because I'll try to keep you updated there as best I can when it comes to when I'm posting stuff or if I have to reschedule anything. And that's it. So thank you all once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.